Have you ever come across memes on Facebook suggesting offensive attributes towards Tagalog or Bisaya individuals? Like this or like this? Have you ever interacted with an acquaintance whose humor is to make fun of accent made by the people on the internet? Well, if your answer is yes, this is Daniel, and what's up, everybody? Today I will discuss the use of bias free language. Today, we will discuss the importance of bias-free language in all contexts. By the end of this video, you'll be able to determine what biased language is and identify its bias-free alternatives. You're also expected to understand how we can avoid using biases in our communication. So let us proceed to biased languages. Biased languages refers to words, phrases, or expressions that unfairly stereotype, exclude, or demean individuals or groups based on their characteristics such as gender, race, ethnicity, class, disability, age, or culture. And when it comes to bias-free languages or its bias-free counterparts, according to Oxford, these languages are free from prejudice, stereotypes, or discriminatory implications. Bias-free language is important because it ensures fairness and respect in communication. By removing words that may reinforce stereotypes or discrimination, we promote equality and inclusivity. First, we must understand why we need to use bias-free language. According to Suchu, we construct and represent ourselves to others through language. Therefore, language plays a crucial role in displaying ourselves as gendered persons. This highlights that language is not only a tool for communication but also a medium for self-representation. So here are examples of biased language and alternatives based on gender. Be sure to take a screenshot of it and include it in your notes. And when it comes to the respect for race and ethnicity, use accurate, respectful, and preferred terms. Avoid stereotypes or outdated labels. And here are the examples of bias-free languages on race. And now for the disability-sensitive languages. Focus on people first, not just the condition. According to Tom Shakespeare, in Disability, Rights, and Wrongs Revisited, you may not be born with an impairment, but you might develop a disease or have an accident. Most commonly, you could become impaired in old age. This reminds us that disability is not just about others, it's potential reality for all of us. That's why society must plan inclusively. So here are examples of biased language and alternatives based on disability. And now for the respect for social class and background. So we need to avoid words that demean economic or social status. According to Stephen Jay Gould, he once said that I am somehow less interested in the weight and convulsions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops. This highlights that people are not created equally. Unlike Einstein, who had been given enough opportunities in life, equally talented individuals are subjected to poor education, just like what is happening today in the Philippines. I'm not mandating that rich people must give to the poor, but I'm only saying that we must respect each other no matter what socioeconomic status we possess. So here are the examples of biased language and alternatives based on socioeconomic status. So after discussing the examples of biased languages and its bias-free alternatives, we can now proceed to how can we apply this. So let us go on to the difference of cultural sensitivity and cultural awareness. On one hand, cultural sensitivity is the ability to respect, value, and respond appropriately to cultural differences, showing empathy and considerations in interactions. On the other hand, becoming culturally aware recognizes and understands the differences and similarities between cultures and how it influences interaction and communication with others. So, how can we engage in diversity through ethics? First one is to address diversity and honor your own cultural values. It is often easier to appreciate the cultural values and diverse backgrounds of others when we consciously recognize our own. It is similar to building one's confidence. By taking care of ourselves and our culture, we're enabling ourselves to become competent in recognizing others. Next is to respect the cultural values and diverse backgrounds of others. Respecting the cultural values of others is often challenging when those views differ significantly from our own. That is why we try to use our three letter E's: empathy, ethics, and emotional intelligence. Next is we must see culture and diversity as an opportunity to learn and grow. By seeing cultures and diversity as an opportunity, not only we gain the ability to understand them, but we also have the unlimited access of information about their cultures, which can come in handy in certain situations. Next is we must recognize the individuality of others. We must recognize that we are not different not only in our cultures but also in our abilities, skills, talents, passions, and many others. By this, we can connect to our similarities and relate to each other. So, another tip when understanding different cultures is to practice perspective taking. According to Davis, perspective taking is the cognitive ability to understand and consider another person's point of view, thoughts, feelings, or experience, which are all part of culture. It involves stepping outside one's own perspective to see the world through someone else's lenses. So, one example of this is in business. In business, there is often little time to fully immerse yourself in another culture before forming long term partnerships or making important decisions. In these situations, the best approach is to seek guidance from trusted individuals who are familiar with that culture. Questions like why do Filipinos have a siesta time and why do they often drink coffee even on the hottest days are all applicable as long as you don't offend the person. Before ending the lesson, I shall impart you this message. Let us start helping other people embrace different cultures to create a better dwelling place for the next generation. And always remember, we're small if we're alone, but together we can form the greatest piece of mosaic ever made. And for your assignment, imagine or bring a thing on Thursday that for you will represent culture. And that's all, guys. Thank you for listening. So here are the references.